And we are live. What's going on, everybody? It's Fat Belly here with Kyle Coronado.
Let's get it. Another podcast number 2. What's
Back
the
at it with
message today?
Pokemon and stuff. Talk about everything Pokemon related and everything non-Pokemon related. But anyway, have you been the past few days?
No, life's been good. Just taking care of business as usual. Been promoting my own YouTube stuff. I've been even filming a little bit of recordings here before this and, just gaming.
You should yeah. Anyway, should
Plug
we
my YouTube channel.
Yeah, you can plug your YouTube.
Yeah, just look up my name. You'll be able to see it.
Couldn't put it in the description, but maybe next time
You
I'll be
can
sure.
after the fact. What you drinking on there?
This right here is a little bit of some lemonade seltzer. Wine's
Local
coming
brewery?
next. No.
I got some wine. I'm gonna go
But,
crack a mug right now.
So I guess let's just start into some of the just topics and things that we're going to talk about today. We'll probably first talk about our favorite alt arts from the Sword and Shield era. If you want to give your favorites, or I'll give my favorites.
Alternative arts, huh? I thought you wanted to talk about the best sets of Sword and Shield. Or is that another question you got coming after?
Just answer the question.
All right. Well, I would say number 1, Umbreon VMAX from Evolving Skies.
The Moonbreon, that's your number one?
I'm putting it up there.
I don't like that card. Overrated.
I got Lugia V alternative art from Silver Tempest. I got the Giratina alternative.
Okay.
The Gengar VMAX alternative where he's like sucking in the water and everything.
He's going with all the expensive ones.
Yep, sending it. And probably the Charizard V.
Charizard V.
Yep.
I don't know if I can get on board with the Moonbreon or the Giratina. I don't like the Moonbreon. I like the V better. The one where he's got like the pincer claws in front of him. But I think my number one is going to be the Sleepy Tyranitar from Battle Styles. I like that one.
It's a cool one.
I think number 2's got to be the Sleepy Dragonite from Evolving Skies. I really like that one.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would have to go with number 3 as the Umbreon V, the one with the pincer in front. It's kind of like on the top of the little stairs. The Leafeon V, where he's in the leaves. I really like that card. And then number 5 is probably the Charizard V. Just because, I mean, can't go wrong with Charizard. Honorable mentions would be probably the Tornadus. I really like the Tornadus. And yeah, probably the Tornadus, but I couldn't pick Tornadus over Charizard. And I like the Celebi, but I couldn't pick those two over the Charizard one.
Understandably so.
The not really expensive one, I'm actually looking at buying a Leafeon for like $55-$60. It's not a terrible price, which I really like that card.
Hit it up then. Do you like have a budget that you spend weekly or monthly or paycheckly on that, or do you just kind of buy whatever?
Just kind of buy whatever. I don't really have like a budget. Like I don't say, oh, I got $200 or $300 that I can spend this month. I'm not really necessarily kind of do it like that.
Yeah.
But now since you want to talk about the best sets, what's the top 5 Sword and Shield sets?
I'm just going off what you sent me earlier today, but probably have to say Evolving Skies.
I could agree.
And then I have Silver Tempest. I don't really know a lot of the cards on all the sets that are newer, so forgive my questionable picks.
Silver Tempest at 2, huh?
Well, I got Lost Origins after that.
And Lost Origins at 3.
And then Shining Fates and Brilliant Stars. Flame me in the comments if you think those are good picks.
Shiny Fates,
bad
huh?
picks. I'm curious what yours are.
I'm gonna have to go Evolving Skies, number 1. Brilliant Stars, number 2. I feel like after 2, it'd probably honestly go Fusion Strike. And then after Fusion Strike, my last 2 sets would probably I do kind of like Silver Tempest. Maybe I'd put that at 4. And then 5 is between Vivid Voltage and Battle Styles.
How do you think this set compares to like the previous Sun and Moon set? I feel like the older ones were better almost, but that's just
I
me
agree.
looking in before they started coming out with more of these other
But
ones.
the Sun and Moon though, like the first sets kind of sucked, just like how Sword and Shield. The first sets kind of sucked, and then after that, like the back half of the Sun and Moon and the back half of the Sword and Shield sets were really good. Like the Sun and Moon, like the last maybe four or 5 sets were really good.
So are they done coming out with those sets now? Are they going to start releasing the Violet?
Yeah, there's Crown Zenith that comes out in January, so next month, and then that's it for Sword and Shield.
Interesting.
Which, I've seen a little bit of Crown Zenith. I kind of like it. Just some of the alt arts. I really like the Entei, and I also really like the Mew, the Sleepy Mew, where he's got like the couple Pokemon surrounding him. I really like that card too. And there was another one, but I don't remember which one. I don't really care for the Suicune and the Raikou. Those ones are okay, but
Interesting. I'm looking at some of these right now.
from the new set.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they got cool trainers.
They're looking pretty good. I think that might be one of the better sets, honestly.
I like the alternative art styles that they started releasing. Whoa, this Entei Riku.
Yeah, the Entei is really
cards.
cool with the volcano.
Yeah.
I like that one. That one's probably the top one for me. I also like that Sleepy Mew. I don't know if it's a V. Is it Mew V or is it Trainer Gallery? I'm not 100% sure what that one is. I just remember seeing it and thought it was really cool. I opened up 2 Silver Tempest ETBs, and I got 2 Rayquaza VMAX cards. I got 2 of the same cards out of both ETBs.
So you're gonna send me one?
I got it up on eBay for $49.99. I just got an offer today for $45. Probably accept it, but I kind of don't really want to sell it, so I don't know. I have 2 of them though, so I probably should sell it.
Do you think that card's gonna go up in value though? And if you wanted to recuperate that money, I mean, you could trade it for another card. $45 is a decent amount of money. You're talking about buying that other card, and it's about that same price.
Yeah, that's true. We got the bots already. Have a good time. Find your love. Already got bots in the channel. That's how you know you made it. Yeah. So
How do you see those? I don't see
we
those.
got our best sets, which I think Evolving Skies for sure has the best cards in it. It's trash to open just because you don't get the good cards, but it has the best cards.
The worst pull rates or what?
And then Brilliant Stars is definitely number 2, and then after that, it's kind of a toss up. My opinion.
Yeah, you know, everybody looks at this stuff differently too. I mean, one set that we might say is garbage, another person might say something else. So
Yeah, some people really like Astral Radiance, which I don't like Astral Radiance. Like
I
the
did
best.
buy an ETB of that set. I bought it from GameStop, and it came with that Typhlosion card.
Oh, you got a GameStop exclusive ETB or whatever?
Yeah, well, I just bought the ETB, and then it came with that exclusive Typhlosion card, the Hisuian Typhlosion. I think that was one of the last sets I bought.
Does it say GameStop on the card or no?
I'd have to look at it. I'm not sure.
Or is it like a pre-release Astral Radiance?
No, it's not a pre-release. It's just a car. It's just an alternative art for the Hisuian Typhlosion. That they only exclusively gave at GameStop if you paid $20 for cards or whatever.
What would you say your favorite, I guess, Sun and Moon set is?
Ooh, that's a good question. Probably Cosmic Eclipse. They had a lot of hitters in that set.
Cosmic Eclipse?
It was one of the better ones that I can think of off the top of my head.
I think I would agree. I liked Cosmic Eclipse for sure. And probably Unified Minds.
That's a good one too. I remember I sold you a booster box of that. You still got that?
I got 2 of them.
What's the value on those looking like nowadays?
Like 300-ish, maybe something like that. About 3-ish.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely Cosmic Eclipse. I would agree with that. Hidden Fates too, but I don't know if you would consider that part of the set. But Hidden Fates is definitely up there.
I would consider it part of the set.
Then Hidden Fates might be number 1. So if you had to have 6 Pokemon, you're trying to fight the Elite Four. What's your 6?
Bruh, what? That wasn't on your list you sent me. But if I had to say,
top 6 Pokemon team, 1 legendary.
1 legendary top 6 Pokemon team. Sheesh.
I'll go with mine. It was on the list.
Oh, I couldn't read that question. Okay.
I'm gonna go Charizard, number 1 for sure. My guy.
Your guy? Do I need to pick one now, or you want to go through your list?
I'll go 6. So Charizard. I'm gonna take my Gyarados for my water type. It was a toss up between Gyarados and for Alligator. Grass. I'm gonna go with Venusaur. My boy.
He said the starters.
For sure.
You pick Gyarados over for Alligator too?
Yeah. Then Mewtwo. Mewtwo for my Psychic, and my Legendary, I have to go with Mewtwo. He's the GOAT.
Definitely one of the stronger Pokemons. I feel
Electric type, I'm going with Jolteon. It was a toss-up between Raichu and Jolteon. Had to go with Jolteon. And for my rock type, I'm going with Steelix. It was either I kind of like Steelix. He's alright,
Steelix is technically a steel type.
but he's rock though.
Is he steel rock? Let me
It
look
doesn't
this
matter.
up.
Even
I
if
need to look this up. I need
he's,
to choose.
he's on my top 6. It doesn't matter what type he is. He can be freaking.
I know, but I'm just curious. He's steel ground. Okay. That's a good pick. He's one of those Pokemon that you can't even get either unless I think you trade with a specific item.
I feel like he's kind of underrated. I really like Onix. I like Onix more than Steelix, but you got to go with Steelix.
Yeah. All right. If I had to go with my list, I would probably, for my fire type legendary, probably going to go with Entei.
Fire type legendary? You're going legendary first?
Entei, just sending it because you need a fire type. We all know that. I'm going to probably put in my list Tyranitar because if you watch the last podcast, you know he was definitely on my top 5 list. What else am I missing? I'll probably go with like a dragon type or something. Not sure which one. Maybe like a Garchomp or Dragonite. Those Suedo legendaries coming in clutch. Just kidding. For a water type, that's a tough question because I feel like there's so many good ones. I know you said Gyarados, but I probably would not bring him into the Elite Four.
The problem is because I believe he's like flying. He's water flying, so he kind of gets wrecked, I think.
Yeah, so that's just a negative thing to think about. Is this if you were a Pokemon trainer or if you were playing the game or if you were
if you were a Pokemon trainer and you're trying to beat the Elite Four, who are you bringing?
All right, well, I got those 3. You definitely need a psychic type too, because I always feel like there's like a psychic like leader on there. Or like a fighter, I think a Bruno on the first league. Yeah, so you need like a psychic to combat that, but can't say Mewtwo. I already used my legendary. Probably like an Alakazam or shout out to your boy, a Fat Belly Gengar. Yep, show the chain. Does that mug got a swirl on it?
Half a swirl.
So I'd probably do that, or even like a Espeon, Umbreon, one of those two for that 4th pick. For a 5th pick, I feel like I'm on the spot on this one.
You're what?
Said I just feel like I'm on the spot on this pick. Definitely that water type. Probably, I know you said we're talking shit on this last podcast too, but that Vaporeon, he's just a tank. He literally has the most HP out of any evolution, so I might have to throw him on that list.
Vaporeon.
I know you might disagree with that, but I'm gonna shout it out.
Vaporeon's just too ugly for me.
But if you're Elite Four in it, might be a hidden sleeper. You need a tank. You need a tank Pokemon, and that's a fact too. But for my final pick, might have to be a grass Pokemon too. I'd probably go with like the Trico or something. Or what's his evolving? The last evolving on that?
Sceptile?
Yeah, Sceptile.
Sceptile's a good one.
Probably go with something like that for my last one.
Yeah, I think my squad's better, but
Probably. That's just off the top of my head. I couldn't even read your handwriting on that. I would have given this a little more thought.
So, You said you were gaming. What kind of games you been playing?
I've been trying to grind out the
The
last
usual.
TFT set before it upgrades to the next set. So I was almost there, but to Diamond, but I dropped all the way back to Plat 4 after not really caring and just being like, whatever.
TFT, Call of Duty type thing.
Yeah, definitely been playing a little bit of Warzone, and then I just been kind of. Those are really the only two games I've been playing, honestly. A little bit of Prison Architect in between there, but.
So, what kind of games? What would you say your favorite system was growing up?
Whew, I probably put the most hours on the Nintendo 64, but I got to give the PlayStation 2 a shout out. Those kind of consoles were like
PS2.
what I did growing up. I
It's
mean,
more
I
of a
did get to
GameCube.
experience some of the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, but I remember strictly having the Nintendo 64 and
I still
the
have mine.
PlayStation 2 growing up.
I bought that GoldenEye like a couple weeks ago. I haven't played it yet, but I was planning on.
Everybody loves GoldenEye, but you got to give Perfect Dark the shout out. I mean,
Oh, Perfect Dark is way better.
it is. It's built on the same platform, and they made everything that was bad about that game better in Perfect Dark, and it had way more like additions added to it.
I was gonna
Um,
buy Zelda. I think Zelda was like $25, but I was just like,
the Ocarina of Time or this Majora's Mask.
the Ocarina of Time, the first one.
That game is definitely a top game. If you haven't played that game, you need to play that game.
I haven't never ever. I mean, not since I've been old. Like when I was a kid, I, didn't really know what the hell I was doing.
What, bro? You need to beat that game. That game
And
is
that's why
one
I
of
was
the
gonna
top.
buy it. I should buy it. I'll probably maybe go back to that store and buy it. It was like 25.
That's definitely one of the games. I could even lend you my copy, but
So what's the top five games then
of all time
before
growing up or
internet?
art retro games.
Before internet.
Well, going back to that, I think back to like some of the Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, and some arcade games I got on my list. One of the arcade games / Nintendo 64 games, Miss Pac-Man, way
Miss
better than
Pac-
regular Pac-Man, way better.
Okay.
I got Smash Bros on that list, and you'll see a recurring theme here where it's like multiplayer games because we always had people to play with. We had a big family. We always had people gaming multiple things. We had all the controllers we could fit on any console we had.
Yeah, that's like all we did back in the day was just game and just LAN party.
Yep, LAN party. So looking back on that, I think of Mario Kart, Double Dash, and the Super Nintendo version. I had Super Smash Bros. Can't forget that one. For an arcade game, Rampart, it's where you like build castles and try to destroy enemies. I was undefeated at that game. I challenge anybody. I'll play you on Rampart. You ain't beat me.
Rampart, I never even heard of Rampart.
Exactly. You ain't beat me on that game, and I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, probably not. I don't even know what it is.
And Rampage, the original or
Ooh,
the
Rampage was good.
N64. The next generation version, not the arcade one, but like the PlayStation 1, Nintendo 64 version.
The 64 version, yeah.
And then I got to give an honorable mention to Mario Party.
Mario Party, which one though? Because
It's just an honorable mention, all of them. I can't name one, but if I had to say probably the GameCube ones, Mario Party 4, 5, and 6.
Party 4.
Yep. And number
was...
2 and 3 on the 64, but definitely that's an honorable mention because I can't pick one.
I could say Mario Party. It's not on my top 5, but it's definitely a good one.
Well, what's your top 5?
My top 5, I have to go to 64. Nintendo 64 had just so much diversity. And it's going to be with Kirby 64. That game was top notch.
That's a good one.
That was one of my favorite games back in the day. Kirby, it's Kirby something. I don't even know what it's called, but Kirby 64. I'd have to say that
Secret Shard or something.
That might be number 1 for me. Probably then, multiplayer game for the GameCube, Mario Kart Double Dash was. I I like Double Dash better than I like Super Smash Bros. If I'm being honest.
Is that just versus Melee or all through all the Smash Bros?
That's just Melee versus Double Dash. I think Smash
Okay.
Bros is better than Mario Kart, but for some reason Double Dash was just so fun. We always played, Baby Park and DK Mountain. And
Don't get me started on Baby Park.
yeah, Baby Park.
That was the one we probably put the most
The
laps on.
most, for sure, the most hours on Baby Park. And then I'm gonna have to go with PS2, which would be Grand Theft Auto, and it's got to be probably San Andreas was the best.
I realized that with that game that I had a video game addiction. I remember being a kid and realizing I had a video game addiction from playing that game. I would play it all weekend at my dad's house. I'd go back to my mom's side because my parents were separated. And all I could think about when I went back to my mom's was Grand Theft Auto, Grand Theft Auto, Grand Theft Auto. And I was like, what the heck? I'm a kid thinking about a rated R game. I got an addiction. I realized that as a kid.
Yeah, that's addiction.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
video games are addicting. You can't lie about that. And then I'm gonna have to stick with, I gotta throw a Pokemon game in there, so I'm gonna have to go with Pokemon Stadium 2.
Ooh, good call. Didn't even think about those, but yeah, those are good.
Pokemon Stadium 2, the mini games are super fun. The battles are fun.
It was better than the first one. It definitely upgraded on that.
Yeah, Pokemon Stadium 2, still have it. I'd bust that out and play. I don't even know if I even beat the game. That's maybe something that
I know
do.
I didn't, but it definitely was a challenge. I remember that.
And then, so what was that? 4. Number 5.
Wait, before you go back into this, one thing I want to say about Pokemon Stadium 2 was I remember that you could have that cartridge adapter for the back of your thing where you could play your Game Boy game on the Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
And that was just like, what are they doing? That's just something that you really didn't see on anything else.
You stick the Game Boy cartridge
in. Yes. And you could only play Pokemon on that, which was like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, continue on.
That one might even be higher than Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto, I mean, I don't know. That was definitely a great game before the internet, for sure.
You can tell that we definitely had parental guidance.
And then Dynasty Warriors.
Throwing back. We played all of those.
Dynasty Warriors was up there. That was an awesome game. Super addicting, I feel like. Even though it's just kind of like a button mash kind of game in a way, it's super addicting, and it's fun to just, kill 1,000 yellow turbans or whatever it was. And,
what's funny too on that is that it was just like the same thing, not the same game every time, but you would play the same characters on the same battles, but it would just be like a new rendition,
different like
game.
Skin type thing. It's the same game, but just like a different walkthrough or run through or whatever.
Different packaging.
Right, repackaged game. But that was definitely a good one. I'd have to say though, I think 64 is the best system. It holds to this day. I would much rather go play 64 games than a GameCube or a PS2, or I think 64 is the best.
Do you think that's our generational thing, or do you think that's like
I mean, if
we grew up around the time frame that was out.
Yeah, if you never played 64, you might have a different opinion. But if you played 64, I think it's top tier. I mean, if you had 4 controllers and you busted out to 64 and you're just playing some Bomberman or
that
whatever
LAN party.
Yeah, like just super fun.
It was like unheard of too at the time. I mean, it had 4 controllers, and you couldn't even get that on the PlayStation 2 unless you had like an adapter.
Yeah,
So it
PlayStation 2
definitely
was
was more
just two
party
controllers.
centric.
And uh, I mean, 64 came out what 10 years probably before the PS2, something like that.
Something like that.
I mean,
93
the
or 4.
64 was like when regular PlayStation 1 was coming out, and 64 is way better than PS1.
The 64 came out in 1996 in the summer. PlayStation 1 came out in 94.
Also, PS1 was out 2 years before.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think Nintendo actually wanted to make the Nintendo 64 a disk drive thing as well. But due to some constraints, they limited it to a cartridge. I
But then
think it
you
was something to
couldn't
do with the
blow in it.
technology.
I just
That's
wanted
just
you to
a
blow it.
that's just a quirk about it because it was like the other ones where if it got dusty. You know what's funny is when you
It doesn't
blew in
even
it too,
work.
it actually got moisture in it. Yeah. That
Yeah,
actually made the games more
it's funny.
unreadable.
It's funny how we actually thought that that was doing something. I'm pretty sure you
Yeah.
just take it out and put it back in, and like we thought you had to blow on it and put it back in.
Well, if there was dust on there, blowing it out would help. But if you blew in it, it like built up water and it would have like this film of like
Yeah, like
some saliva stuff
corrosion
on
on
there. Yeah,
stuff.
like
And
a corrosion. So if you needed to clean that, you would take isopropyl alcohol on a Q-tip and rub it through there. And I only know that because I've done it
you had to do
multiple
it.
times and it always worked after I did that.
Yeah. Well, I guess if we're talking about retros, what was the best? I guess TV shows or cartoons back in the day.
That was a good question on that list, by the way. But thinking back, throwback to when I was even younger, probably the X-Men animated series.
I don't think I've seen it.
It definitely was a hitter show back in the day. Shout out Marvel on that one. But
Mm.
also as I grew older, Dragon Ball Z was definitely a hit show. Um, Going back to Cartoon Network, we had Samurai Jack, Nickelodeon, The Last Airbender, Avatar,
Are
and
these your
shout out.
favorites, or are you just naming shit?
Yeah, no, these are my favorites. I don't have a list specifically for top 5, but definitely X-Men, the animated series, Dragon Ball Z, Avatar, The Last Airbender, Samurai Jack, and the Star Wars Clone Wars.
Ooh, that's a good one. Clone Wars.
Yep. I know you're going to say Jackie Chan Adventure.
I'm not actually, but that's.
Ooh, I thought you were.
I could get rid of one actually for that
Let's hear your list first before you say that.
because I could throw Jackie Chan Adventures in and Spider Man. Spider Man was legit.
I have an honorable mention too, but I'll let you go.
I'm gonna have to say one is Dragon Ball Z.
Yep. Shout
I
out to
mean,
Dragon Ball Z. We are always on that.
you woke up on Saturday and just watched, cartoons in the morning and like Dragon Ball Z. I'd be mad if I missed Dragon Ball Z. Like, wake up at 9 o'clock and it came on at 8 or whatever it was when it came on. It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, I missed it, and you had to wait like a whole week just to watch the next one, and it's just
Yeah, I
like
remember even talking about it and just like, oh, I didn't watch it. So, like, other people knew what happened and you didn't.
you'd have to get lucky that it'd come on at like 9 at night on like Toonami or something. And
I feel like I only really talked about that show with like my cousins, you and Zach, and everybody else
yeah,
because nobody
yeah,
at my school was watching that show. I went to a Catholic school.
Dragon Ball Z easily, I think, number one. Number two, Pokemon. Simple, easy.
I was
Like
going to say that, but I was like,
Saturday
nah, I
morning
didn't really watch
cartoons,
that as much.
Pokemon. Going to the movie theater to watch the first movie, just insane. Like the hype, just Pokemon was probably the best show when I was a kid. I would say one of them. Clearly, if it's number 2, number 3, I think Avatar: The Last Airbender. That
Definitely is
was
on my list.
a super good show. I mean, I feel like it's even watchable as an adult. Kids loved it. I loved it. I always liked, the concept of the firebender, earthbender, waterbender, airbender.
Yeah, it was like an elemental twist that wasn't like anything else like the
Yeah,
other
it
cartoons.
was super cool. I mean, the firebenders are probably the best. I kind of like the earthbenders the best, but I think probably the firebenders are the best.
That's why those two nations were the biggest. If you think about it on the show, the Fire Nations ruled the world, and the Earth Nation had like the most population.
Yeah. Yep. The Earth population were actually kind of like normal people. I felt like it was kind of like the civilization of people. Whereas like the airbenders were monks, and like the waterbenders were like Eskimo tribes, and like
Yeah, North and South Pole.
yeah. So definitely earthbenders though. I liked earthbenders. The only problem with earthbenders is that you had to be like in that environment. Whereas like firebenders, you could just pull it out of your butt.
Same with the airbenders, but the waterbenders also needed that. They were kind of restricted to
Yeah, they're
the
restricted.
environment.
Yeah, but they're probably their waterbenders are probably the strongest ones out of all of them. And then SpongeBob, bro. Can't forget about
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob. SpongeBob was
Didn't even think about that list, but it definitely I watched that
early
show.
morning cartoons every day. I feel like before school at like 7:30 or 7, SpongeBob was on every single morning, and like SpongeBob was the show.
I remember we had a DVD of the first like few episodes.
I mean,
Definitely watched it on repeat.
you can't go wrong with SpongeBob. I think like I still make SpongeBob references like I need it. Like SpongeBob references are still around, and that show is dead. Clearly, I don't know if they still make shows.
I
But
wonder. I know they still make movies on it.
nobody watches SpongeBob anymore.
Well, we're adults now too.
Well, I know, but I don't even think kids watch it. I don't know if it's
Yo, they still are making episodes on this show.
interesting. And then I think a sleeper show. Codename Kids Next Door.
Ooh, I thought you were gonna say something else. I did like that show too.
That was a
My
good one.
sleeper pick was Code Lyoko.
I don't even know what that is.
She was a Cartoon Network show. But it was like cool because it was animated, and then it also would switch to 3D when they went into like this computer world where this virus was like trying to take over the world, and these kids like found it and were like going into the system to defeat the virus.
Yeah, definitely good one. Codename Kids Next Door, top. But that's my top 5: Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, Avatar, SpongeBob, and Codename Kids Next Door. Those were the best cartoons that I remember watching as a kid. And then I guess another thing that we could talk about is that what's your top 5 superheroes or top 5 villains?
I like that question. If I was gonna say,
Go ahead, I'll let you go.
for here, I'm gonna go piggybacking off heroes and villains that kind of go with them if I matched them, but I definitely have Spider-Man on my list. For some reason, I don't know, when I was younger, I always just liked Spider-Man. He was like one of my favorites. As I grew older, it became Iron Man, but now it's like way played out, and I didn't want to include that on the list. So I would say Spider-Man, and one of his arch nemesis is Venom. Cold.
Yep.
And then also on the same spectrum, but we're gonna go to DC, Batman and Joker. And then for my fifth pick, I have Magneto. I don't know why. Out of all the X-Men, he's the one that always just like I thought was one of the cooler ones.
I agree 100%. I have the same exact list, except I'm taking Joker out.
All right, who you
I
putting
got
in then?
Spider-Man, and I got Wolverine.
Ooh. I thought about Wolverine, but I did not include him on my list.
Yeah. I got Batman. I got Venom, and I got Magneto. Magneto is super underrated. He's a dope character. He's like considered a villain, but he's like also good too. Like
Yeah, he wasn't always a villain either, and I think they touched on
yeah,
that on one of the X-Men movies.
yeah, he's like I don't know. I don't know if I'd consider him an anti-hero, but he's kind of like,
He
the
was a hero that like went his own way, I feel like.
yeah, because he's trying to save the mutants and just in a different way.
Mhm.
Magneto is cool though. He's up there. I mean, he can bend metal and like
But he also
sounds
had one of the
stupid.
issues that you mentioned earlier about like on Avatar the Last Airbender where if they didn't have their uh
Yeah,
access to metal, like he was pretty much useless.
yeah. Like if he's in like I don't know, one of them like foam like
A concrete prison
yeah, yeah. Like yeah,
with a wood door.
yeah, yeah, he could become useless, but I mean that's kind of like a lot of you know heroes or villains. Like if they don't have a certain element, they're useless.
There I mean every hero has a weakness.
Yeah, I mean look at Superman. He's in by kryptonite. He's completely useless.
But otherwise he's invincible.
Right. Wolverine though, I don't think he's got any weaknesses. I mean
I
he's
thought they did have one on one of the X-Men movies. Didn't they say that if he had like some whatever they used to create him could counter him or something?
I don't know.
It like slowed down his regeneration. I don't remember either, but
Yeah, I'm not sure. So I guess it's kind of about it really for that. Um you making any Pokemon plays at all? Making any card plays? Making any moves? Doing anything?
no, I just been thinking about getting rid of some of my stuff, and I haven't been thinking about making any moves on that.
So what are your top 5 cards you own then?
Uh, well, they're probably mostly my PSA collection. You know, I got a PSA 9 base set 2 Charizard. I got the PSA 9 Dark Charizard, the PSA 9 Dark Blastoise, PSA 9 Blastoise. I like my Leafeon level X just because it's probably one of my more high value cards. But that one's not graded. And another non-graded card that I liked because it was like one of my first like good cards that I actually pulled since I've been recently into the collecting has to be my trainer Lana and Mallow from Hidden Fates. He's got to go grab his cards. Thought you had them ready on your bedside.
So I think my top 5 favorite cards, not value purposes. These are just kind of cards that I enjoy and like probably just my favorites. Charizard.
Yep, base set 2.
The reason why I really like this Charizard is because it
You
has
got
a
a swirl.
swirl. Can't really see it on the camera. Right there. It's got a perfect swirl on it. This card, not for sale. I'll go to the grave with this card. My second card, another Charizard. I really like this artwork. I really like the Crystal Guardians. Charizard Reverse Hollow Crystal Guardians. Probably my second favorite card that I own.
So is that one of those pre-release cards that we get nowadays, but just for that
No,
set?
this card was in the Reverse Hollow slot. So like this comes in like a hollow version where it's exactly the same card except the name is black and it doesn't have the little Crystal Guardian symbol. So the name isn't hollow and it doesn't have the little Crystal Guardian symbol, which I really like the reverse hollows. I think they're way better.
I do like reverse hollows too, and I like how that had a gold edge.
Probably then number 3. I do like this Blastoise artwork from.
Is that a reverse hollow too?
Yeah, reverse hollow Blastoise from Expedition.
That E-Raider set.
Probably one of the cooler Blastoise artworks. He's swimming halfway underwater. It's just a dope card. Then my next 2 cards are modern cards, which I really like. I really like this full art card.
Oh, that's a good one. I remember.
Charizard from Flashfire. Flashfire Charizard. This card is pretty goated, I think. Charizard's first ever full art. Can't go wrong with it. And my 5th favorite card, Shiny Charizard from Champion's Path. Charizard V.
That's one of those cards I wished I pulled.
This card is just a sweet card. I just like how it looks. A full art black Charizard, like, can't go wrong with this. And I personally like this one better than the Hidden Fates one. I just kind of like this one better. Just kind of looks nicer. And those are probably my top 5 cards that I own. Not monetarily wise, just my favorite. They just hit me the best.
That Charizard lover, you should just name yourself Fat Belly Charizard.
You should.
Put one of them PSA things on your chain.
Charizard.
With the flash. Actually, you should put that base set 2 swirl on your chain and get a Charizard suit.
Charizard.
Gengar.
I see you. But yeah, I think I'm probably gonna try to sell a few cards. Don't know which cards yet.
Yeah, I know you have a way bigger collection than I do when it comes to graded cards.
Yeah, I think what I sell though, I'm gonna put back into cards. So like, I'm gonna sell off some cards and buy other cards with it. Kind of just swapping all my collection cards that I don't necessarily care about, and just gonna buy cards that I do care about. Kind of been really into the early XY full arts, like the EX, the full art EX cards. I really like those.
That's when they first started doing that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think they're underrated, in my opinion.
He muted himself. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up then, huh?
Yeah, we can wrap it up. Call it a night.
That was a good one. We're 50 minutes deep, so
yeah, next time or same time next week.
Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to my boy.
I did say, if you're willing and wanting to subscribe, 200 subscribers, you could win a Charizard. At 200 subscribers, I'm giving away a Charizard, and you could be a lucky one. Just think, 1 in 199 chance. Why not, right?
I mean, can I make that cut? I'm subscribed.
I mean, it might be a little rigged if you win, but I guess.
Are you gonna random generate it, or are you gonna just pick somebody on the list, or how does that work?
Probably random generate it, or maybe top YouTube comment that I like or something like that. I'm not 100% sure yet.
All right, well, give this man a sub if you're trying to win a Charizard.
Yep. Subscribe.
Might have a swirl.
You can subscribe to my boy Kyle. He's makes all kinds of different content.
I got all types of different content. I'm mostly doing technology reviews recently, but I'm thinking about also switching it up to do more like talks like this sort of thing, but to be determined.
Yep. Same time
I got a
next
few
week.
videos in the grindstone.
Same time next week. Fat Belly's out.
Peace, guys. Thanks for watching.
Have a good night.